A 19-year-old college student vanished after entering her own apartment, and the final clue pointed to someone she had once tried to stay away from.
We are getting our first look inside Miya Marcano's apartment, where deputies say a maintenance worker broke in, ultimately killing her.
A piece of information that would send the entire investigation in a completely different direction and leave everyone involved in shock.
911, do you need police, fire, medical?
We found a suicide on property.
He was the primary suspect and the only person who could provide answers to the many unanswered questions. Miya Marcano, 19, was born in Pembroke Park, Florida. The daughter of Charles Marcano and Marcella Marcano, and had a close younger brother named Marlon Jr., whom she affectionately called Munchie. Although her parents separated when she was young, they maintained an amicable relationship, and Miya and her brother were also very close to their stepmother, Giselle. Her family described Miya as energetic, ambitious, adventurous, and fiercely protective of her loved ones, especially her brother. Friends and relatives remembered her for her radiant smile and positive energy that made everyone around her feel at ease. After finishing high school, Miya chose to stay in Florida, the place she loved and called home. She initially attended the University of Central Florida, later transferring to Valencia College to pursue an associate degree in arts, with plans to specialize in sports medicine or physical therapy. Outside of academics, Miya devoted time to her creative passions such as fashion, design, and performing arts, and she was a familiar face at local carnival events, where her joyful and lively personality always shone through. Florida, known as the Sunshine State, is a place filled with festivals, food, music, and vibrant colors. A perfect home that matched Miya's outgoing personality and positive energy. During her studies, she lived at the Arden Villas apartment complex, a modern community near the University of Central Florida, where most residents were students. Miya worked part-time at the same complex, assisting tenants and helping with unit management, a job that allowed her to earn extra income while saving commuting time, ideal for her busy class schedule. She stayed in close contact with her family, who lived just about an hour's flight away, and never went long without texting or calling her loved ones. On September 24, 2021, Miya planned to fly home to spend the weekend with her family. However, when it came time for her flight, no one received the usual text from her saying she had arrived at the airport or was boarding, something completely out of character. As the hours passed, worry grew, and by 9:30 p.m., her family knew something was wrong. They immediately contacted the Orange County Sheriff's Office, OCSO, to request a welfare check at her apartment.
Orange County Sheriff's Office. This line is being recorded. This is Operator Winstead. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm calling to find out if I can have a wellness check.
Deputy Samir Paulino from the Orange County Sheriff's Office arrived at the Arden Villas apartment complex at 10:02 p.m. to perform a welfare check for Miya. When he got there, the area was quiet, with no signs of disturbance or anything unusual outside the apartment. After a short wait, Miya's roommate returned and let him inside. They called out Miya's name several times but got no response. When Paulino tried to open the bedroom door, he discovered it was locked from the inside, something that rarely happened. Looking through the window, he noticed a small bookshelf pushed against the door, as if someone had deliberately tried to block the entrance. After a few attempts, Paulino managed to open the window and step inside. where the scene immediately raised concern. The room was in disarray. The sheets and blankets were scattered, and there was a suspicious red stain on the pillow. Mia's suitcase, packed and ready for her trip home, still sat next to her desk, indicating she had never left as planned. There were no signs of forced entry from the outside, but it was clear that something very unusual had happened inside that small room. Mia's father, Charles Marcano, had personally installed additional safety locks on his daughter's bedroom window to ensure her absolute security. But when inspected, those locks had been removed. A few of Mia's pieces of jewelry were found damaged, yet there was no indication that she had left the apartment. All these details painted an increasingly troubling picture. However, despite the clear signs that something was wrong, Deputy Samir Paulino only gave a brief report of the situation to his direct supervisor, Sergeant Kenneth Dale. Both concluded that there wasn't sufficient evidence to consider it an emergency, and therefore did not notify the Criminal Investigations Unit. After documenting the scene, Paulino left the apartment to respond to other calls, leaving behind a home filled with alarming signs, a decision later criticized for delaying the investigation during those crucial first hours. Mia's roommate, visibly anxious and frightened, quickly provided police with a crucial piece of information. Recently, Miya had been receiving unwanted attention from a maintenance employee at the Arden Villas apartment complex. His persistent behavior had made her uncomfortable and uneasy. He was identified as 27-year-old Armando Caballero, who had been working at the complex since June of that same year. Several other residents also confirmed that they had seen Armando trying to approach Miya, frequently attempting to talk to her or invite her out, even though she had repeatedly declined his advances politely. According to her roommate, Miya had begun to feel increasingly fearful of his persistence. At one point, Armando had even sent her $700 through the Cash App with a message that read, "Because you're beautiful," an act that left Miya even more unsettled. She immediately returned the money and tried to avoid further contact, hoping the situation would finally stop. It wasn't just Miya. Several other women living in the Arden Villas complex had also experienced troubling encounters with Armando. When police began gathering information, they quickly received multiple statements describing similar behavior. That he often approached women in ways that made them feel uncomfortable. A woman who lived at the Sable Club Apartments, where Armando had previously worked, recalled that in March 2021 he had sent her a letter asking her out. She initially agreed, but when he wanted to meet earlier than planned, she declined because she was busy. Not long after, around midnight, a heavy object was thrown at her window, leaving her terrified. Based on Armando's prior behavior, she believed he was responsible and reported the incident to police. Although the case was documented and some checks were made, it was soon closed without any charges being filed. Just a few months later, Armando was hired to work at the Arden Villas apartment complex, the same place where Miya lived and worked. Around 3 a.m., Mia's family rushed to the Arden Villas apartment complex to assist in the search. When they entered her room, they immediately noticed several unusual details that Deputy Paulino seemed to have overlooked. Under the bed, they found a familiar yellow box and Mia's childhood teddy bear, an item she always took with her on every trip, no matter how short. The fact that these belongings were still there made the family instantly feel that something was terribly wrong. While they were speaking with the police, around 4 a.m., a familiar face suddenly appeared at the apartment door, accompanied by one of his roommates. It was Armando Caballero, the maintenance worker Miya had been trying to avoid. his presence at such an odd hour, close to 5 a.m., and well outside of working hours, deeply alarmed Mia's family, as they knew she had previously told them about how this man had made her feel afraid. Armando Caballero had finished his shift hours earlier and had no legitimate reason to return to the apartment complex in the early morning. Mia's family, already aware of his troubling behavior, immediately recognized him and felt uneasy seeing him appear at the very place where their daughter had gone missing. The obvious question arose: why would a maintenance worker show up at the scene at this hour without being called? When detectives approached and asked why he was there, Armando claimed he had heard from a coworker named Tati that Miya was missing and said he just wanted to see if he could help. However, this explanation quickly raised suspicion, as no one among Mia's coworkers or friends knew anyone by the name Tati, making Armando's story inconsistent and difficult to believe from the very start.
You keep mentioning Tati and no one knows Tati. The roommates don't even know Tati.
You've been sleeping since 10
You keep
o'clock,
saying
and all of a
Tati is
sudden
a
you're showing
friend.
up here at 4 o'clock in the morning
Because
looking
me
for
and
me.
Tati were conversating about it, so I finally, it came
Okay,
up.
but
Should I go
Tati
and
is
see if I
someone-
see anything?
No one knows Tati. That's my whole thing. Not
Tati
even the
is
roommate
an
knows
employee
Tati.
here.
She's an employee, but you keep saying Tati is a friend and that you've all hung out together. No one here knows Tati. All her
Well,
other
not
friends
all
showed up. Her
these
closest
people.
friends that live in the complex were all here with us early on. No one knows Tati. Only you.
Mia's family, who had heard directly from her about being followed and frightened by Armando, were convinced that he knew more than he was saying. They kept questioning him, hoping to find some clue that could help locate Miya. However, Armando remained calm and denied all accusations. He insisted that he had not seen or spoken to Miya anywhere around the complex on the day she went missing, and that the last time he had seen her was many hours earlier. Beyond those denials, he offered no useful information, leaving both the family and investigators with the growing sense that he was deliberately hiding something.
As of right now, you have
work
sent
tomorrow? You work
obsessive
tomorrow,
texts to
Tati?
Miya. We have all seen the text. You talked about giving her your life savings. You cash out her money, and you claim that you weren't in touch.
Who told her gave
It's
her
on
life
text.
savings? I never
As a
said
matter of
that.
fact, we're going to get a police report to pull your phone records if that's the case. There's evidence of obsession. You're fascinated with
It's
me.
not only from my side, so don't try to make this.
No one,
like I'm a
no one's
stalker.
saying that. It takes
She's not here to
two.
defend
There's-
herself right now, so
obviously
we gotta
she's
talk to
missing.
you.
So we're talking to
And
you
I
who've been going
completely
back and
respect
forth
that. I
on
understand
text.
that. That is your
cool.
family.
Right.
But until we figure out what's going on, just don't beat me up.
Nobody
one's
ain't beating
beating
you
If
you
up.
I'm guilty, why
But you
would I
put
come
yourself in the middle right here. You brought yourself over here.
Because we're concerned.
You're concerned. Why weren't you concerned hours ago?
I just found out. We didn't think it was serious. I don't even know how Tati found
Oh,
out.
somebody's
She told me
missing and you don't think it's serious.
Someone
maybe
that
they hanging out. They got this place right here. They go downtown. I don't know. Maybe her phone's off. I don't know what she.
she was supposed to show up for a flight and didn't show up.
Although Mia's family made it clear they suspected Armando and repeatedly emphasized that he might know something, the detectives at the scene believed they did not yet have sufficient legal grounds to question him further or detain him. After a few brief questions, Armando left the complex appearing completely calm. However, when police ran a background check, they discovered a troubling history. In 2017, Armando had been convicted of a serious violent offense involving a dangerous object. And in 2013, while attending Warner University, he was arrested after setting off a homemade explosive device in a dormitory, a reckless prank that required the Polk County Sheriff's Office to intervene. Fortunately, no one was injured in that incident, but the record revealed a long-standing pattern of dangerous behavior. Back at the Arden Villas scene, a security guard attempted to lift fingerprints from Mia's window using tape, but Deputy Paulino declined to collect them. believing the case did not yet warrant that level of attention. The guard also noticed a screwdriver and a cell phone case on the back seat of Armando's car, but since no search warrant had been issued, they were unable to inspect the vehicle. Orange County Sheriff John Mina later stated that, based on the video footage and the preliminary information available at the time, they did not yet have enough evidence to justify detaining Armando. Not long after, another deputy was informed about Mia's disappearance and immediately went to her apartment at the request of her aunt. After reviewing what was left behind and listening to the family recount everything that had happened, he quickly realized the seriousness of the situation. Unlike his colleague's initial response, he immediately contacted the Missing Persons Unit to elevate the case to an official investigation. From that moment, the search for Miya Marcano officially began. On the morning of September 25th at 8:47 a.m., investigators received an urgent call from Mia's family, requesting police presence at Armando Caballero's apartment. The family, convinced that this man knew more than he had admitted, had been quietly monitoring him themselves.
The passenger side.
From inside their car parked outside the building where Armando lived, they saw him rush out carrying a glove, a backpack, and, most strikingly, a pink blanket they instantly recognized as Mia's, the same one she often used in her room. That sight left the family frozen, with a sinking feeling that something terrible had happened.
The blanket.
Oh my God, that is my blanket.
When police arrived at Armando's apartment, he appeared cooperative and allowed Mia's family and law enforcement inside, on the condition that they could look around but not touch or move anything. Since a legal search warrant had not yet been issued, investigators could only document what they observed. Although nothing immediately stood out, the atmosphere in the apartment made everyone uneasy. Around 3 p.m. that same day, Armando left his residence, and just an hour and a half later, police officially identified him as the primary suspect in Miya Marcano's disappearance. At that point, authorities began urgently requesting a full search warrant, a procedure that should have been initiated earlier but was not approved until more than 24 hours after Miya had gone missing. Later that night, at 9:35 p.m., Armando sent one final message and then suddenly disappeared without a trace. His disappearance only deepened the mystery. Was he trying to hide Mia's whereabouts? Move her somewhere else? Or run away? Police had no answers at that moment. They only knew that time was quickly running out.
It's been 3 long days since anyone has heard from Miya Marcano.
Miya, baby girl, if you can hear me, if you're seeing me, we're here.
A desperate plea to bring 19-year-old Miya Marcano home, her family hopeful that she's alive and okay.
I believe Armando may have given us a sign that Mia's in the area. It's just what I feel personally in my heart.
Her family, some even coming in town from South Florida, joining volunteers Tuesday in the search for Miya.
And her father, speaking with Local 10 today, says he's beyond worried.
The relationship that we have it's like we communicate hundreds of times in one day, and to not be able to hear from her or know where she is, it's like really breaking my heart right now.
This is unusual for her.
Very unusual, yes.
The search for Miya Marcano quickly expanded as hundreds of volunteers joined law enforcement in combing through multiple areas around Orlando, covering several square miles of land, yet for hours no trace of her could be found. Meanwhile, investigators focused on analyzing electronic data from the Arden Villas apartment complex's security system and uncovered a critical detail. At 2:14 p.m. on September 24th, just 3 hours before Miya was last seen, a master key, the type used by management for maintenance access, had been scanned to unlock her apartment door. This key did not belong to Miya and was confirmed to have been used by Armando Caballero. Records also showed that later that same day, at 4:34 p.m., he accessed her apartment once again. Shortly afterward, Miya scanned her own key fob to enter, grabbed her purse, and prepared to head to the airport for a flight she would never take. Security camera footage and entry timestamps strongly indicated that Armando had been inside waiting for her return, and soon after, at 5:52 p.m., his car was captured on surveillance video leaving the Arden Villas complex. This discovery made it clearer than ever that whatever happened to Miya likely occurred inside her own apartment. The final image captured by the security camera showed Miya entering her apartment that afternoon, an ordinary moment that would later become haunting when compared to what police eventually discovered. Her mother shared that every time she watched the footage, she wanted to scream, wishing she could warn her daughter not to step into that room, praying that something might have made her stop or turn back down the hallway. By September 27th, after gathering enough preliminary evidence, police obtained an arrest warrant for Armando Caballero on charges of property theft. As they found, he was linked to items believed to belong to Miya. However, investigators believed this was only the tip of the iceberg, as the clues pointed to something far more serious behind the scenes. Before the warrant could be executed, an unexpected call came into the emergency dispatch, a piece of information that would send the entire investigation in a completely different direction and leave everyone involved in shock.
911, do you need police, fire, medical?
We found a suicide on property.
Okay, and is there a unit, or is that the unit number 525 where you found him?
No, they're in the garage. It's one of our garages, but we just store paint in there. So
okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, he's beyond. I mean, he's deceased. That beyond any help?
I believe so.
Okay. All right.
Dead, right?
Okay, we'll have an officer over there in a few minutes. You said it was a male?
Yes.
Okay, see you shortly. Thank you.
Armando Caballero, 27, was found to have ended his own life in a personal tragedy just a few days after Miya went missing. The news threw the entire investigation into turmoil, as he was the primary suspect and the only person who could provide answers to the many unanswered questions. Everything had unfolded so quickly, and with Armando now gone, the greatest fear shared by both investigators and Miya's family was that they might never truly know what had happened to her.
This new video of a man Miya Marcano's family believes is her maintenance man, carrying her stuff away the day after she went missing and 2 days before he turned up dead.
Dave, this new video we just saw could be a big clue that they've been looking for.
It definitely could be. And maybe more clues here inside Arden Villas, which has been the scene of the longest search here throughout the day by law enforcement. And that is still going on right now. The family still hopeful that they'll find her following every potential lead. They have searched several locations, including wooded and swampy areas, and they're not giving up.
Today's that day where we got up upset. There hasn't been much crying at this point. We're just ready to bring her home, but we need everyone's help.
Just yesterday, Arden Villas Apartments manager sent out a memo talking about proactive measures to enhance their safety protocols, saying they've repositioned a guard to the front gate to document all residents and guests leaving the property. These women saying they haven't seen that yet.
I think that the gate stays open for about 5 cars to go through, so even sometimes it doesn't even make sense for me to scan my key fob. I'm praying that she's coming home. I have a hope that she's still out there.
Fox 35 News did not see a guard at the gate today, but there was a guard present during our live shots last night.
After Armando's death, the investigation had to continue, and authorities decided to focus on his phone data and electronic access logs to trace his movements. Using technical information obtained, They began piecing together Armando's actions on the night Miya disappeared. At 7:01 p.m., about 2 hours after Miya was last seen, Armando logged a maintenance request in the system, stating that he needed to visit Miya's unit, a request later confirmed to be completely fake, as neither her roommate nor any resident had made such a report. 10 minutes later, at 7:11 p.m., he contacted the Arden Villas office staff to request access back into the complex. And just 5 minutes after that, Miya's keycard was scanned at her apartment. However, the data showed that no one actually entered after that scan. Police could not definitively confirm that it was Armando who used the card, but they were certain it was not Miya. Several minutes later, at 7:40 p.m., some surveillance footage captured Armando driving away from the Arden Villas complex, an action that further fueled suspicions he had returned to the scene to conceal something before leaving again. When investigators conducted a deeper analysis of Armando's phone location data, they discovered that on the night Miya disappeared, his signal had been detected near the Timberscan on the Lake apartment complex, a place where he had previously lived. According to the data, Armando stopped there for about 20 minutes before leaving. The area was known for being desolate, filled with abandoned buildings, boarded-up windows, and overgrown lots, often described by locals as eerie and unsafe. This raised a critical question for investigators. If Armando had once lived there, why would he return on the very night Miya went missing and stay for such a short time? Most of the old apartment complex had long been deserted, surrounded by dense vegetation, an ideal place to hide something. When the time and location data aligned, the search teams decided to concentrate all efforts around Timberscan on the lake. The FBI quickly joined the operation, providing both technology and manpower support. Meanwhile, Miya's family and friends clung to the fragile hope that she might still be alive somewhere. Though that hope was being tested with each passing day, they refused to give up, continuing to pray and search relentlessly until they found the truth.
We understand and appreciate that there's been a tremendous amount of interest in this case, both here in Central Florida and beyond. So we're talking to you now to kind of balance the intense interest while also maintaining the integrity of this investigation.
Was she kidnapped?
So we believe that the suspect that we had named, Armando Caballero, is responsible. We don't know all the circumstances involved. So at this time, we don't believe there is another person involved. But remember, I said these investigations constantly shift and change. So we're taking all this information in, and we would never ever rule that out. But he was the main person that we were focusing on.
On the morning of Saturday, October 2nd, 2021, after a week of relentless searching, investigators and volunteers made a heartbreaking discovery in an abandoned area of Timberscan on the lake, located about 18 miles from the Arden Villas apartment complex. There, amid dense vegetation and piles of discarded debris, they found a victim believed to be connected to the disappearance of Miya Marcano. The discovery immediately devastated both the search teams and Miya's family, who were overcome with grief.
At 7:02, a community is in mourning after officials in Orlando say they may have found the body of 19-year-old Miya Marcano.
The body was found in Orlando in overgrown brush amongst trash at a partially abandoned housing development called Timberscan Apartments. Miya's suspected killer, Armando Caballero, lived there once.
I do think that he was trying to throw authorities off the trail by going all over the place, by going up to New Smyrna Beach, maybe in an effort to, possibly get away with this before he took his own life.
Her grandmother said she's found a little peace, even with such devastating news.
I have to say, I thank God for bringing her to me. Because I said before, I wouldn't know what life would have been if I've never found her.
When authorities examined the scene at Timberscan on the lake, they discovered the remains of Miya Marcano in a state indicating she had been restrained with black adhesive material around her hands and feet, with a similar layer covering her mouth. She was still wearing jeans, a robe, and an undershirt, while her purse was found nearby containing her student ID and the shirt she had last been seen wearing on camera. The autopsy later confirmed that Miya had lost her life as a result of a violent act, though the exact method could not be determined due to the advanced stage of decomposition. The forensic report also noted no clear evidence of severe trauma or indications of another form of assault. Tests conducted at the location where Armando Caballero had been found revealed biological traces, including Miya's hair and DNA, which matched evidence recovered from his vehicle, such as a roll of tape identical to the one used at the scene. In addition, Armando had 2 bite marks and several fresh scratches on his hands, signs suggesting that a violent struggle had occurred around the time of Miya's disappearance. All of these details reinforced suspicions that he was the one responsible for this heartbreaking tragedy. Everything had happened so fast, and when it was all over, the tragedy of Miya Marcano left behind an unfillable void and countless unanswered questions. What truly occurred inside her apartment that day may forever remain a mystery, as the only person who could tell the whole truth is no longer here. Residents of the Arden Villas complex were left shaken and outraged. Many said they had voiced security concerns for years, but were never taken seriously. To them, Miya's case was the worst nightmare imaginable, a young woman harmed in what should have been the safest place of all. One resident shared in fear, "It's chilling to know that maintenance staff could freely enter our apartments. If this new key card system hadn't been implemented recently, things might have been very different. We used to go to bed not realizing someone else could access our private space." In the aftermath of the tragedy, public outcry demanded stronger security regulations in residential communities. On October 15, 2021, Miya was laid to rest in a funeral service held in South Florida, attended by more than 2,000 people, with thousands more watching online. The entire community came together in grief and prayer for the young angel who had been taken far too soon.
Hundreds wearing blue for Miya's favorite color packed this South Florida church to grieve while celebrating her short yet powerful life.
The aftermath of Miya Marcano's case not only shocked the community, but also forced authorities to reevaluate their entire initial response protocol for missing persons cases. Following an internal investigation, 2 deputies involved in the early handling of the case were found to have committed serious procedural violations. Specifically, Deputy Samir Paulino, the first officer to arrive at Miya's apartment, was determined to have failed to follow proper procedure during the welfare check. He did not promptly report key details, including the suspicious red stain on the pillow and the damaged jewelry, to his direct supervisor, Sergeant Kenneth Dale. Because of these oversights, Miya's case was initially misclassified as a voluntary disappearance rather than a missing person under suspicious circumstances, preventing the Criminal Investigations Unit from being mobilized during those critical first hours. This misjudgment of the situation's urgency delayed the entire search process and cost precious time that might have made a difference in saving Miya. Rick Raymond, a former police officer who now works as a private investigator, stated that the case could have been handled very differently during those crucial first hours. He emphasized that when multiple witnesses confirm that belongings of a missing person are found inside a specific individual's vehicle, it should serve as a clear red flag to immediately focus the investigation on that person. He said, "If it were me, Just hearing that detail alone would tell me I need to look more closely at this individual. In response, Orange County Sheriff John Mina explained that the responding deputy at the time did not have access to all the information now available, and that the full picture only came together more than a week later. However, he also candidly admitted, yes, we could have and should have done more in the case of Miya Marcano. Following the internal review, the command staff of the sheriff's office determined that there had been a lack of urgency in the initial response and referred the matter to the Professional Standards Division for accountability. The findings concluded that both Deputy Samir Paulino and Sergeant Kenneth Dale had violated operational procedures. Paulino was suspended for 150 hours without pay, while Dale received a 10-hour suspension without pay. In the aftermath, the sheriff's office announced new policy updates requiring that all first responding deputies immediately notify their supervisors and the missing persons unit whenever there are signs of danger, a necessary step to prevent the heartbreaking mistakes that had occurred in Miya's case from ever happening again. In March 2022, police released the final report on the disappearance and death of Miya Marcano. The document, spanning more than 100 pages, compiled all information, evidence, and witness statements gathered during the investigation, confirming that Armando Caballero was the sole suspect and the primary person responsible for the case. The report detailed his work history, behavioral patterns, electronic data, and the physical evidence recovered, all of which pointed unmistakably to the same individual. After the findings were made public, Miya's family filed a lawsuit against the Arden Villas apartment complex, alleging negligence that led to her tragic death, as well as another lawsuit against the Orange County Sheriff's Office, claiming that the agency had handled the case carelessly, responded too slowly, and failed to treat Miya's apartment as a crime scene from the beginning. In response, Arden Villas management issued a statement asserting that they were implementing major security improvements, including a full review of protective systems, access locks, and employee screening procedures. We are committed to ensuring that what happened to Miya will never happen again. The entire security infrastructure is being evaluated and upgraded. The statement read, they also noted that Armando had undergone a background check through a national provider and had no prior criminal record related to theft or serious assault, a fact that exposed significant gaps in the screening process at the time. Miya Marcano's family expressed deep disappointment, stating that the management of the Arden Villas apartment complex had failed to reach out to them after Miya went missing, and even took several days to release an official statement, despite the fact that she was not only a resident, but also an employee there. According to the family's attorney, Daryl Washington, the lawsuit was not only about seeking justice, but also about holding those responsible accountable and pushing for real change in tenant safety protocols. He emphasized that the family wanted answers to the many unresolved questions and suspected that someone else might have helped Armando Caballero in the tragic case. The family also criticized the Orange County Sheriff's Office for its handling of the investigation, stating that they had still not been given access to the full report and case files. Sheriff John Mina later responded that the investigation was still ongoing and had not been completely closed. Meanwhile, outrage among Arden Villas residents continued to grow. Many organized protests and sent open letters to management, outlining long-standing issues such as limited security camera coverage, poor lighting in parking areas, inadequate maintenance, and a lax key control policy. The lawsuit filed by Miya Marcano's family against the Arden Villas apartment complex was finally settled on what would have been her 20th birthday, serving as a way to honor and celebrate Miya's short but deeply meaningful life. During the memorial ceremony, the city government of Pembroke Pines, where she was born and raised, presented the family with the symbolic key to the city as a gesture of recognition for the impact and legacy her story had left behind. From that day forward, Miya's birthday was officially declared Miya Marcano Day, a day dedicated to promoting community safety and student protection awareness. The movement did not stop there. In June 2022, a major milestone was reached when the Miya's Law Senate Bill 898 was signed into law by the governor of Florida. This legislation requires all property owners and housing management companies to conduct thorough background checks on every potential employee, especially those with direct access to residents' apartments. Anyone with a criminal record involving violent behavior or listed on the sexual offender registry is automatically disqualified from employment. Additionally, the law mandates detailed tracking logs for every apartment key and requires that maintenance staff provide at least 24 hours notice before entering a residence unit, replacing the previous 12-hour rule. It is regarded as one of the most significant housing safety reforms in Florida, designed to prevent future tragedies like Miya's from ever happening again. After the tragedy, Miya Marcano's family decided to turn their pain into purpose by establishing the Miya Marcano Foundation, MMF, an organization dedicated to supporting, educating, and providing resources for families of missing loved ones while advocating for the safety of students and other vulnerable groups in society. The foundation not only raises awareness about risk prevention, but also actively assists in search efforts for other missing individuals, walking alongside families experiencing the same pain they once endured. In addition, they launched the MMF Safety and Security Recognition Program, an initiative designed to encourage apartment complexes and multi-unit housing communities to strengthen their security standards, access control systems, and employee training. Since its inception, this program has significantly improved community awareness about safety and led to tangible changes in how residential properties manage personnel and monitor access rights. Miya's family continues to work tirelessly to carry out their mission, transforming their loss into a powerful force for protection and hope for thousands of others. When Miya Marcano booked her flight home to visit her family on September 24, 2021, it was supposed to be just another familiar trip. No one could have imagined that within only a few short hours, the life of the 19-year-old, full of dreams and energy, would take such a tragic turn. What began as a simple plan became an enduring heartbreak for her family, friends, and the community that loved her. Though time has passed, too many questions remain unanswered, and the only person who could have revealed what truly happened to Miya is no longer here. Her aunt, Pia, shared tearfully, "You can never take time for granted, because life is truly too short. I always thought I'd have forever with her." Miya's younger brother, Marlon Jr., said that since she's been gone, every good thing that happens no longer feels complete. He often instinctively picks up his phone to call her and share happy news, only to realize she's no longer there to answer. Her mother, Marcella Marcano, said through tears, "For everyone else, life goes on, but I'm still here, trying to piece together the parts of this puzzle that are missing. Will I ever finish it? I don't know. I think of her every day, every hour, every minute. She's everywhere, in every memory, in every breath. But the hardest part is knowing there will be no new photos, no new moments to capture. The old pictures will fade someday, but the love and memories of her never will." To her family and everyone who loved her, Miya Marcano will forever be the 19-year-old girl, vibrant, radiant, and deeply loved. The story of Miya Marcano is not just a heartbreaking case retold in a true crime documentary, but also a powerful reminder of the importance of personal safety, especially for young people living away from home. A single lapse in security procedures, a brief delay in response, can sometimes lead to irreversible consequences. Miya's story reminds us that no matter where we are, we must always trust our instincts, speak up when something feels wrong, and never stay silent when our safety is at risk. Thank you for taking the time to follow today's case. If you were moved by the painful yet deeply meaningful journey of Miya Marcano, please share this video and leave a comment in her memory, to honor a young woman who carried light and hope within her. Don't forget to subscribe and hit like to stay with us for more stories in our true crime documentary series. We'll see you in the next video, where together, we continue to seek justice and uncover the truth behind the cases that have touched hearts around the world.